And on the Book Chat live show today, I have the amazing Marisa Cali, who you are an avid book reader. I think you're a member of a book club and exciting things like that. So, how many books relatively do you read a year, do you reckon?
Well, it took me joining a book club in order to read because I didn't want to be the one who didn't read books.
Yeah.
I had like 20 audiobooks in my library, and then I didn't really, there was nothing pushing me. So in the last year, or maybe less than a year, I've read, right now I have 6 in front of me. And maybe the year before that, I had maybe read like 2 books a year. So it's definitely helped me stay more accountable. It makes it easier to talk about the books and really do your takeaways because you're sharing with other people. But it's also spawned, like now I'm in 2 book clubs. One is like business related and one's like in my community. Like we read like novels and like murder mystery, which I never would read. So yeah, it's pretty fun. So.
Okay, well, let's get on to your book choices.
Okay, cool.
And the first book is Digital Body Language by Erica Dhawan. Is it Dhawan?
Dhawan. I don't know.
Yeah.
excuse us, Erica. Yeah, we don't know. But yeah, that's this one here. This is the most recent one that I finished.
And
it how to build trust and connection no matter the distance. Now, I think we know how to do that, you and I, Tim, because we're always on Zoom. We're always, building friendships with people from across the world. But this gave me a lot of reminders, just how to approach different situations, whether it's a client or how you're presenting yourself in a new networking virtual meeting, how you can communicate, just between different age groups and different genders, and trying not to assume a lot of things that you can come across when it comes to, how we're connecting digitally. There's one thing that I want to pull up. It's really awesome. And it kind of breaks it down. Like it even gives you examples like, oh, my dog wants to go out of the room. That's his indication. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. I think this is the first time on the show that we've had dog release live.
Yeah, he has the little door stopper, and he and says, "I want to go out."
Yeah, well, you're the first person to release a dog on this show. So congratulations.
That is a way they say, how do you prepare for meetings and stuff, and shouldn't have your dog in here, but he wanted to be in, and then he wanted to be out. So, they give you examples of like passive aggressive feelings in common emails, like per my last email. And I'm like, oh, I kind of knew that. We knew not to say that because that can be very passive aggressive. But I like the way that she gave examples and then showed you really how to like reframe the conversation, and if you use emojis or if you don't use emojis, and how can you approach that in any type of communication online. So
so were there any particular things that you picked up personally from that book?
Yeah, actually, well, one of my other really most favorite books is called The 4 Agreements, and a lot of the, let me find this. I should have bookmarked this. But one of the main key words in this when you're communicating digitally, and this could be email, text, chat, or anything. And one of the things that says right here, always be impeccable with your words. So, understanding who you're talking to at all times, and really not trying to be, not someone you're not, because I think it can definitely be presented in a way that, you won't be able to build trust, or you can make people upset, and just kind of stay true to who you are and not be aggravated. So that was one of the, I knew that it was a good reminder to get, because I think, doing what I do for work, like a lot of people don't address this when they're dealing with people digitally, whether it's email or like in a virtual room, stuff like that. So it was pretty cool to hear it again and get reminded.
We've got Making watching on the
Hi,
Amazon stream.
Hi, Making.
But yes, I can't put a comment up here because it's not linked up. So shall we
that's
go on to the next book then?
Yes.
Which is The Art of Gathering by Priya Parker.
Yes.
It's easier name to say.
Yeah, so this one I read right before the digital body language, and this one really resonated with me because I was reading it right around Christmas time and the holidays, and it really kind of highlighted what we like. Sometimes we just meet to meet, and really kind of focusing on the purpose behind any gathering. And that could be, like this book chat live, or, a live stream, or, you're going to meet your girlfriends for a drink, or your guy friends, and just focusing on the meaning behind it versus just meeting. Oh, that's how we always done it. Let's really focus on why we're doing it. And it was pretty cool. And this can apply to any event you do. And my book club that I'm in, we're all event professionals, from virtual events to in person. So it was really applicable, I think, to the events that we plan, or the events, the consultations that we give to people who want to plan events, who think that they want to have a virtual event or think they want to have an in-person event, but they don't think about the why that they're gathering and the purpose. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's something that you've now, is that a question you always ask people as to why they wanted to do it? Or is it just something now you totally focus on that?
Yeah. I mean, I think there is a question, like in my line of work, doing virtual events, there's a lot of, I would say, like, focus on the things that we're doing. Like, we're creating an intro, or we're having this guest, but we don't think about the purpose of it and like how we can frame that event around it. The purpose of a virtual gala is to raise money. So are we having, you have your QR code here, but some people don't think about that part until the very end, and they're not promoting it that way. They're not focusing. That's the goal. Let's build everything from that, right? Like, we want to raise money. Okay, so we don't need to have a 5-hour panel, right? Let's focus on, maybe a fun interactive event that's an hour and a half, So I think that really does help guide the conversation. And it's definitely something that I bring up a lot earlier in my initial conversations or consultations, because it helps frame everything that we're doing.
Yeah. Okay. Should we go into the next book?
Yes.
I didn't change the title then, but okay. We'll pick up the phone and sell by Alex Goldfayn.
No, so he is a former client of mine, and he's a sales consultant. And you'll be surprised how much those who are self-employed do not practice their sales techniques. And people will be very passive with follow-ups through email or through text, without actually just getting into the mindset of selling. So this is kind of like the idea behind it, and going old school and picking up the phone and just talking to your clients.
I like that phone thing. Is there another way I can do it?
Yeah, I mean, you can do voice memos. You can do, you can set up a quick call, like even through Zoom, but like without video. So you don't have to. I feel like what the first part of this book is really focused on mindset. And a lot of what we don't want to pick up the phone is because we think that we're bothering them. When half the time, if you pitch someone and say, hey, like, I'm working on this, like, would you need any assistance? Or, you always have to think about you're helping the people by providing a service. If you think about you're trying to sell to them, you're never going to be successful.
Yeah.
So that was the first part. And then the second part is just very tangible things like lists and who do you call and your repeat customers and following up through your CRM or through your email, just checking in, and could turn into sales. I mean, I applied this right now, like today, I'm like looking at, doing some rearranging of my existing services. And I was like, well, if I give you did you know that I offered this? If we pay ahead of time in 6 months, I can give you a discount. We've been working together for 5 years and I've never given them a discount. Well, that's because they didn't know, or they didn't know I did a certain thing. And so it's even just talking to your existing clients and selling add-ons, right? Because they won't know unless you tell them. So that's the gist of the book. Like, pick up the phone and sell, and you're not even being salesy. You're just having a conversation. So.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that all of us who are in business, well, not all of us, some people don't, but a lot of people struggle with the selling side of things because, as you say, they're focusing on what it means to them, like the money coming in, but not the service they're providing the other person.
Right.
And so it feels like, I'm exploiting them. So I think that's the problem with sales a lot of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, should we go on to the next book?
Sure. I'm like, which one are you going to choose?
4 Agreements.
Yeah.
As you mentioned before, Don Miguel, Ruiz.
Yeah, so the 4 Agreements are, in general, basically how I try to frame my life. I read this book about 3 years ago now, maybe 3.5 years. And it can be applied to anything. It's pretty, I mean, I've read it 5 times and I pick up things every time. But this really is talking about how we frame our mind, our mindset, and how that goes into everything we do, from personal relationships to business relationships to, and it's not really business focused, but it can be applied, right? So I want to do the 4 agreements. So the first agreement is be impeccable with your word, which I mentioned before, and that's always, talking to yourself even good. Going back to that, pick up the phone and sell, like, they don't want to hear from me. I'm bothering them. Well, that's not being nice to yourself, and that's not a clean action, right? Like, that's an assumption. And the second one is don't take anything personally.
Yeah.
So if someone's upset, well, that's on them. You don't have to own that. You might have done something that triggered that, but that's their emotion. So don't hold on to that. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. And the fourth agreement is always do your best. So it's a small book. It's very small, but it's very impactful. And I try to give this to all my friends because, we worry, we say things to ourselves that aren't correct, that aren't true. We think ahead. We're not focusing on like those 4 things, and it really can frame and change your life. I mean, it's changed my life, so I'm not a preacher, but give it a try.
It's your Bible, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it is. I try to live by them, and I need reminders sometimes from friends who have read this book because, I slip into my, negative self-talk, which is not being impeccable with my word. And so it's definitely been super, and it's a little hard to read because it goes into the history of like the Toltecs and Aztecs and stuff, but give it a try. It's definitely good.
Yeah. Well, we've got a comment from May King on the Amazon.
Okay.
Love the 4 agreements, Marisa. Gonna have to buy myself another copy as I left mine in Australia.
So, yeah. I'll bring one to you in London, May King. I have like 5 extras. When they're on sale, I get them all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it's a book. So this is the book that you give out then? Is that the...
I try to, yeah. It just depends on the situation. Sometimes and it kind of goes along with my whole mantra of being present. So yeah, I definitely try to give it out when I can. Oh, it's the subtitle is A Practical Guide to Personal Freedom.
Yeah.
So that doesn't tell you everything.
Okay. And on to the next book. Set Boundaries, Find Peace, and Set Boundaries, Find Peace by Nedra Glover Tawwab.
Good one. Good job. This one I also read with the book club, and this is all of these books kind of coincide with each other, but this one is really just listening to your intuition and not trying to do things that don't serve you. Go against what you truly believe, and this can be applied to personal and business. There's some boundaries that are related to like our mental health and anxiety, and how a lot of times when we're not setting our boundary or being truthful to them, it causes burnout. And that's like common with lots of self-employed people who, are just, not setting the boundary, just thinking they have to go, and not thinking like, hey, this isn't serving me. So they do ask some questions like the ones around anxiety, like whose standard am I trying to meet? Do I have time to commit to this? What's the worst thing that could happen if I don't do this or say no? And how can I honor my boundaries in this situation? So it gives you some questions if you're feeling anxiety about something to like address those and then go forward and find peace, which is the whole point of the book. So yeah.
Sounds like it's helped you a lot with those areas then.
Yeah, I think it's I think a lot of times we're too afraid to reschedule meetings, or we're too afraid to like let people down when we said we've done something, and we're not honoring our own boundary that we've already set internally. I don't want to do this right now, but they do it and it's not their best work, and then it reflects on everything. Even last week I was really overwhelmed with calls and like doing a bunch of stuff. And I said I had been trying to schedule a call with this woman for 2 months. I was connecting with her through someone else, and I was hoping that it would turn into like a potential work job. So I'm like, oh, I'm taking it because it could be a client. I showed up like flustered, and like I just was not speaking the way I should have. I didn't take a pause before I left. I wanted to cancel it, but I was like, oh no, like she's been waiting for a long time. And she picked up on that like within the first 2 minutes, and it turned into like a coaching session. So she gave me free coaching. Meanwhile, I wanted to work with her but I didn't present myself in the best way. Instead of saying, you know what, let's not have this meeting, can we reschedule? And who knows, I don't know, she seemed fine, and I think it'll be okay, but like I don't think that I'm going to pitch her anytime soon because I couldn't show up in my best light, my best self.
She want to pay you with coaching.
Yeah, right. Like, thanks for the coaching and the resources. I'm good.
Okay, right, on to the final book.
Yeah. That one
The Accidental Creative by Todd Henry.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of, I'm going to pull it up on my phone because I read it on my phone. No.
Pretty much like any other.
Oh, yeah.
How to be brilliant at a moment's notice. So I think we are we're very pressured in the world of digital marketing to always be creative. And it gave me a little insight into how I can, step back and kind of all these words, all these books, and just kind of find time to be creative instead of, trying to force it, right? Or, doing something that is maybe out of the norm that can spawn your creativity, or like setting time aside to just do creative things. And it just kind of helps you frame the creative side of your brain when I think we're very much stuck in process and doing things instead of being creative. So I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So this was the last of the books that you gave me. You did say you were going to send me some more, but you didn't.
Yeah.
Was this specifically at the end, or was this just the last one you thought
of? No, it wasn't specifically at the end. I was just going through my thing. The other one that I would have said is where is it? Better Small Talk.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you read that one. This one really helped with talk to anyone, avoid awkwardness, generate deep conversations, and make real friends. This one was really good for like networking events, like having setting like your 4 or 5 like questions that you want to ask that you think will spawn a conversation, instead of like, hi, what's your name? What do you do? Coming up with like your stories that you feel like your 3 pillar things that you can talk about every time, because it'll, like if you just remember those, you kind of don't have to worry about the awkwardness. And just also reframing how you ask a question to kind of put the light on them, so that, people love to talk about themselves. I do.
Yeah. So, well, I normally ask people this question, which was, I already know the answer. If you had to pick one of those books to give people, because you've already said you've got like about 50 copies of the 4 Agreements, so I'm guessing that is the one. So I'm going to trick you by saying, apart from the 4 Agreements, which one of these books would you give to somebody?
I'm gonna say this one. Pick up a phone and sell. This is a combination of mindset and actual stuff to do, action. But this is really going to get you, one, more comfortable being on the phone, or, talking to people. This is not calling. This is not cold calling. That's the one thing about this. It's not cold calling. It's calling all of your old clients or people that that you used to work with. And you're connected with them on LinkedIn. Yeah, you have them on Facebook, but why not just reach out intentionally, every day, or, 3 times a week. Tell people what you're up to. They don't know until they know. And so I think that it's the concept that says pick up the phone and sell, because I think it's really geared towards like people that have like products to sell like all the time. They have like a catalog. But the mindset of picking up the phone is you're really listening to what they're saying versus worrying about what's on your screen. You can ask them like questions and really just connect with them and really see what you can offer them and help them with. And I think a lot of people avoid that. So it's changed how I frame. I started working with this client, and he's a New York Times bestselling author. When I was working with him, he sold. We don't work together anymore, but he's Wall Street Journal bestselling author 2 times. But when I started working with him, it was March 2020, and my business has never been the same since April 2020, because I've learned things from him on how to sell. And when to sell. Like, you don't sell to everything, right? You either build relationships or, sell.
Okay.
It'd be great.
And have you got any books that you're looking forward to reading in the future?
You'll probably find this funny being over there. I am reading Spare, which
okay,
yeah, I'm in the middle. I have a few other books. I am almost done with Truth Be Told, which is a novel and also an Apple TV, Apple Plus TV type show. It turned into that. I am actually, for the first time, going to read Start With Why by Simon Sinek. I know that I've heard a lot of his stuff. I really, truly believe in it, but I've never read the book. So that's the next one for this book club I'm in, and I'm excited to read that. So those are on my list. Don't really have anything that I can think of. No, I don't know anything else.
Well, I mean, that's already like 3 books you're reading, so that's not too bad. Well, thanks so much for being the guest on this Amazon Live part of the broadcast. So, who is Marisa Cali and what do you do apart from reading books?
Yeah, my name is Marisa Cali. I'm a virtual event producer. I do everything from live stream audits to strategy, consultations, and execution. I am taking all of the guesswork out of virtual event production so you can be present for conversations that matter. So.
Okay. And how can people find out and get in touch with you and if they're interested in that? I don't know why they'd be watching a book channel and want virtual events, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Thank you for asking, Tim. You can WhatsApp me at 615-212-8993. Call me. Or you can find me on social media. My personal page is #Marisa, which you can see on the screen. Or you can find me on LinkedIn. And my business page is Live on Social Now. That's also a website, liveonsocialnow.com.
Okay. So thank you again for being a guest.
Yes.
And hopefully I'll remember. I've been adding a little bit on the end because it feels bad because, you're a book reader and you recommended some good books, but you might as well say who you are.
Right.
That's the whole point of these shows, promoting people, as you say. Right. Like when the was it Digital Body Language, which was the one about promoting? Yeah.
Digital Body Language.
Yeah.
And I do both. I read and I do the audiobook because I'm in my car sometimes, and then I'm like, then I need a bookmark, so I have both all the time. So
I've more or less gone full audiobook. I kind of switched ebook and I was reading on my phone because I used to use it commuting in, but now I don't commute in anymore. I don't read on the phone much, so I tend to be just audiobook all the time. So anyway, well, thank you again, and I'm now going to end the book. There's no end screen or anything for this show, so it's just going to end, and I'm going to edit this so it's not quite so bad. So anyway, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.